We have mapped the surface of Mars. We have split the atom. We have decoded human DNA. We have built machines that think. And yet, there are creatures living on this planet right now that science cannot explain. Creatures that have been witnessed by thousands of people. Documented by credible scientists. Investigated by governments. And still, after decades of research, nobody has been able to tell you what they actually are. These are not myths. These are not legends. These are documented biological mysteries that the world's best scientists have never been able to solve. And some of them will make you question everything you think you know about the natural world. Science has identified and classified approximately 8.7 million species of living creatures on Earth. That sounds like a lot. But here is what makes that number extraordinary. Scientists estimate that we have only actually discovered and documented around 15% of all species that exist on this planet. The remaining 85% are out there. Right now. Undiscovered. Unclassified. Unknown. And throughout history, creatures that were once dismissed as myths and legends have turned out to be completely real. The gorilla was considered a myth by Western science until 1902. The giant squid was considered a sea monster legend until it was finally photographed alive in 2004. The platypus was so bizarre when first described that European scientists thought it was a hoax. So when credible witnesses, scientists, military personnel, pilots, experienced naturalists, report encounters with creatures that do not fit any known species, science has a responsibility to take that seriously. The creatures you are about to hear about have been doing exactly that for decades. And science still has no answer for any of them. Over 10,000 reported sightings across North America spanning more than 2 centuries. Witnesses that include park rangers, police officers, wildlife biologists and former military personnel. Footprints cast in plaster by professional investigators showing anatomical details that primatologists say are extraordinarily difficult to fake. Physical evidence including hair samples, tree structures, and audio recordings that have never been definitively explained. And yet, no confirmed body. No confirmed skeleton. No definitive DNA match to any known species. What makes Bigfoot genuinely scientifically interesting, beyond the folklore, is the physical evidence that serious researchers cannot dismiss. In 1967, Roger Patterson and Robert Gimlin filmed a large bipedal creature walking through Bluff Creek, California. That footage has been analyzed by biomechanics experts, Hollywood special effects professionals and primate specialists for over 50 years. The conclusion that keeps emerging is deeply uncomfortable for mainstream science. The creature in the footage moves in a way that is biomechanically distinct from any known primate including humans. The muscle mass distribution, the stride pattern, the way the creature's body moves, experts who have studied it say it would be extraordinarily difficult to replicate with a human in a costume. In 2012, a research team led by geneticist Melba Ketchum submitted a peer-reviewed paper claiming to have sequenced Bigfoot DNA from over 100 samples. The results showed a novel hominid species with human mitochondrial DNA but unknown nuclear DNA. The paper was controversial and disputed. But it was never fully debunked. The U.S. Forest Service has an official policy for what rangers should do if they encounter a Bigfoot. That policy exists in the official documentation of a government agency. For a creature that officially does not exist. In 1997, the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, detected an ultra-low frequency sound in the Pacific Ocean. The sound was extraordinarily powerful. Strong enough to be detected by hydrophones over 5,000 kilometers apart simultaneously. Scientists named it the Bloop. The sound matched the profile of a biological origin. Meaning whatever made it, was alive. The problem was the size calculation. Based on the sound's frequency and amplitude, marine biologists estimated that any creature capable of producing the bloop would have to be significantly larger than the blue whale, the largest animal known to have ever existed on Earth. The location of the bloop was traced to a point in the South Pacific Ocean near the coordinates of a location that H.P. Lovecraft, writing in the 1920s, had chosen as the fictional location of his sea monster Loch. This detail is either a remarkable coincidence, or something stranger. In 2012, NOAA officially attributed the bloop to icequakes, the sound of large ice masses fracturing in Antarctica. Many scientists accepted this explanation. Many others did not. The original biological profile of the sound has never been fully reconciled with the icequake theory. We have explored less than 20% of Earth's oceans. Whatever is in the remaining 80%, we have absolutely no idea. We are halfway through this list. And the creatures that come next are not from the depths of the ocean or the forests of North America. Some of them have been seen in broad daylight. By multiple witnesses. In populated areas. And science still has absolutely no explanation for what they were. Between November 1966 and December 1967, the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia experienced something that has never been fully explained. Over 100 local residents reported encounters with a large winged creature standing between 6 and 7 feet tall with enormous red glowing eyes and a wingspan of up to 15 feet. The witnesses were not fringe individuals. They included a local magistrate, a former combat pilot, multiple police officers and dozens of ordinary families going about their daily lives. Their descriptions were remarkably consistent across over 100 separate encounters spanning 13 months. Then on December 15, 1967. The Silver Bridge connecting Point Pleasant to Ohio collapsed during rush hour. 46 people died. It remains one of the worst bridge disasters in American history. The Mothman sightings stopped completely after the collapse. They have never resumed in Point Pleasant to this day. Investigators noticed something deeply disturbing in retrospect. Many witnesses reported that their Mothman encounters were accompanied by strange prophetic feelings. A sense of impending disaster. Several witnesses claimed they had been overwhelmed by an urge to avoid the Silver Bridge in the days before the collapse. Zoologists who examined the witness descriptions could not match the creature to any known species. A large bird like the sandhill crane was suggested, but crane sightings do not come with glowing red eyes or 7-foot standing height. The explanation satisfied nobody who had actually seen it. Point Pleasant erected a statue of the Mothman in their town center. It stands there today. A monument to something that 100 people saw, and science never explained. Loch Ness in Scotland is one of the largest bodies of fresh water in Europe. It is 230 meters deep at its deepest point. So dark that visibility drops to near zero just meters below the surface. And according to thousands of witnesses spanning over 1,500 years of recorded history, something extraordinarily large lives inside it. The first written record of a creature in Loch Ness dates to 565 AD when St. Columba reportedly encountered a large beast in the river Ness and commanded it to retreat. Since then sightings have been recorded continuously across 15 centuries, making this one of the longest-running unexplained creature cases in human history. In 1934 a photograph emerged showing what appeared to be a long-necked creature rising from the water. It became one of the most famous photographs of the 20th century. In 1994 the photographer's assistant confessed it was a hoax, a toy submarine with a sculpted head. But the confession raised as many questions as it answered. Because the photograph was only one piece of evidence among thousands. In 2018 a team of scientists from New Zealand conducted the most comprehensive scientific investigation of Loch Ness ever undertaken. They collected environmental DNA samples from throughout the loch and analyzed over 500 million DNA sequences. Their results were extraordinary. They found no evidence of large fish species that should be present. They found unexpectedly large quantities of eel DNA. And they found sequences that matched no known species in any database. The lead scientist stated publicly that the eel DNA was present in quantities so significant that if eels were responsible for Nessie sightings they would have to be of a size far beyond any eel ever recorded. He stopped short of saying what he believed that meant. But the implication was clear. Something in Loch Ness is producing DNA that science cannot currently identify. After 1,500 years of sightings, that is not nothing. In March 1995, a farmer in Puerto Rico discovered 8 sheep dead on his property. Each animal had 3 puncture wounds on its chest. Each animal had been completely drained of blood. There was no blood on the ground. No blood on the animals. No tracks from a predator. Just 8 dead sheep and 3 puncture wounds each. Over the following months the attack spread across Puerto Rico. Hundreds of animals, goats, sheep, chickens, dogs, were found dead in the same condition. 3 puncture wounds. No blood. No predator tracks. No explanation. Then witnesses began reporting the creature responsible. Descriptions were consistent across hundreds of independent accounts. A bipedal creature between 4 and 5 feet tall. Spine-like protrusions running down its back. Large oval red eyes. Powerful hind legs. A hissing sound when disturbed. Moving with extraordinary speed. The Puerto Rican government launched an official investigation. The U.S. Department of Agriculture became involved. Wildlife experts examined the dead animals. And here is what made their findings extraordinary: the puncture wounds on the animals were surgically precise. Too precise for any known predator. Made with a consistency and accuracy that suggested something beyond animal instinct. By the late 1990s, Chupacabra reports had spread from Puerto Rico across Central America, Mexico, and the southern United States. Thousands of animal deaths. Hundreds of eyewitness accounts. Government investigations in multiple countries. And still no confirmed species identification. But the animals with mange cannot account for the surgical precision of the wounds or the complete absence of blood at attack sites. Whatever the Chupacabra is, it is still out there. The attacks have never fully stopped. And science has never produced a satisfactory explanation for what is killing these animals or how. 5 creatures. Thousands of witnesses. Decades of scientific investigation. And 0 definitive answers. A bipedal primate in the forests of North America that leaves footprints no hoaxer has ever fully explained. A sound from the deep ocean too powerful for any known creature to have made. A winged being seen by over 100 people before a bridge collapsed and killed 46. An unknown DNA source in one of Europe's most studied bodies of water. And a predator draining animals of every drop of blood with surgical precision across 3 continents. We live in an age of satellites and sonar and DNA sequencing and artificial intelligence. We can detect a single molecule in a sample of water. We can photograph the surface of Pluto from 4 billion miles away. And yet these creatures, witnessed by thousands of credible people on the planet we actually live on, remain completely beyond our ability to explain. Perhaps they are misidentifications. Hoaxes. Mass delusion. Perhaps there are rational explanations for all of them that science simply has not found yet. Or perhaps, the natural world is far stranger and far larger than we are comfortable admitting. And some of what shares this planet with us, does not want to be found.